Browns QB battle with the 4 quarterbacks going at it. So you have Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Kenny Pickett. That's the top heads storylines entering training camp. Which training camp, the Browns quarterback room is one of the most, I guess, questions you want to say, not just questions, and one of the most fascinating situations in the NFL this year. Going into training camp to see who's going to win this job, and somebody don't like this person. Somebody don't like this person. Like I said before, I'm a Shedeur fan. I think he's the best quarterback on the roster, and I feel like he was the best quarterback in this draft. But that's just how I feel about it. But everybody give their takes. So but not to less, Dylan Gabriel's out there. He's still a player. He still made it to the NFL, so he's going to compete his ass off as well. So we're going to see what happens. And I personally believe it's between the veterans, Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, and the backup is between Shedeur and Dylan. Do I believe Shedeur is going to start? No. Do I want him to start? Yes. I just think it's going to be veteran in for a couple games, and then they're going to let the rookies rock. So they're not going to cut either of the rookies. They're going to see what they have. It's really just up to who's going to win it out of Flacco and Kenny Pickett. Either way, they got to see what these young guys have to see what they can do next. But with the diving into the Shedeur and Dylan battle, how do you think it's going to shake out? How I think it's going to shake out. Early signs always point to Dylan because he was drafted in the 3rd round, Shedeur in the 5th. But everybody keeps on bringing up Shedeur's poise, which I've seen it at CU and Jackson State. Right there, we see that he's already making those steps. Everybody around, I guess, the media is saying that they let Dylan grab all the first team reps during minicamp and off-season workouts because he grasped the playbook faster. I just think that's a damn narrative, but that's just me. I think that's bullshit if I've ever seen one. But Dylan Gabriel, he's what, 5'5" or 5'10", maybe 5'9". It's just one of those things where you can see it. You can see it working because you got Kyler Murray, but there's no way in hell he's as good as Kyler Murray or as fast or quick as Kyler Murray. But that's beside the point. Shedeur was bred for this. I feel like he's going to beat Dylan Gabriel out when it comes to training camp. This is when it counts, so we're going to see. Whatever comes out of training camp is what they're saying. Even though some of the Cleveland reporters have a narrative they want to keep, and Tony Grossi again says some dumb shit about Arch Manning again, but we'll dive into that. Early signs just pointing out that these guys are working hard and we're going to see who wins. Do I think it's a 4-way battle? No, like I stated before. So we're going to dive into what everybody's saying currently about this quarterback situation.
Shedeur Sanders will be the Cleveland Browns starter by their Week 9 bye week. You heard it. Look, they got a lot of quarterbacks in that building. But I think that the voice from the fans is going to get louder and louder as the season goes on. I think we know who Kenny Pickett is. We know who Joe Flacco is. And I think Shedeur supplants Dylan Gabriel.
Start him sooner.
Sooner.
You have 2 first-round picks next year. You need to know what you have in Shedeur Sanders. He's a better prospect than Dylan Gabriel, their 3rd-round pick. Trade Kenny Pickett. Joe Flacco is your bridge quarterback. Let's see what we have in Shedeur, who's a very talented quarterback.
I like that, and I think he should start earlier. Obviously, you're going to start with the veteran to see what this team has, but as the season progresses, as you start to be more comfortable with Shedeur Sanders at practice and the way that he's handling himself in the building, he should become the starter because you need to know if he could be your guy going forward.
Yeah, so I believe that he is the best fit for the offense they want to run, but we just got to see how it works out in training camp. He's going to have to earn his reps on his way up, which I'm saying here, I believe he's the best quarterback in this, not just in this draft, but on the Browns, but I still believe he still has to earn it. He still got to earn his way. I think every player got to earn their way unless you're like Myles Garrett or something like that already proven. That's how I see it playing out, but he's already playing the part when it comes to quarterback. He's in the community. He's doing his thing when it comes to everything a quarterback should do. Granted, the whole speeding ticket, but everyone gets a speeding ticket. But I just think how the battle plays out is they're going to let Dylan go first because they did all summer. So Shedeur just needs to come in, work his ass off, and do what he got to do, which I believe he's going to do. And once we get to the preseason games, everything's going to weed itself out from there. And you're going to see the talent. To me, Shedeur has better talent than Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Joe Flacco. Flacco's proven Super Bowl winning quarterback already, but he's long on the tooth. Father Time catches up with you, so you're just going to have to see how that works out. You get what I'm saying? So y'all just let me know how y'all feel about that, as well as just see how it goes. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I know everybody in the world is going to keep an eye on this situation. I guess we'll just see how it works out. You know what I mean? And, again, like I said, Dylan Gabriel's going to get the reps. Dylan Gabriel reps. It's not because he's processing faster. I think that's just, again, a narrative that people are just saying it because of who Shedeur is. And to me, that's bullshit. So again, your boy Tony Grossi on some bullshit. Always, he's always come with narratives, man. And he says from the neck up, they think that Dylan Gabriel he's getting more reps because pretty much that he's the number one pick in their eyes, and they feels that the Browns view Dylan Gabriel as a first round pick and gets more reps because he can process faster. I don't believe that shit at all because I see Shedeur processing just as fast or faster. I just think everybody learns a different way. But Tony Grossi with another take that I feel like he's biased to the situation. I'm gonna call him out that. Mary Kay she's still bullshitting, but she's coming around to understand who Shedeur is and what type of quarterback he can be and what type of quarterback he is. So she's coming around, but Tony Grossi still has that good old boy attitude, and this is what he's been saying about Shedeur. Oh, we gotta pump the brakes, and I'll show you another clip here in a minute about this whole situation. And to me, it's getting old and tired about this whole situation, man. Like I'm overseeing Tony Grossi and him just saying stuff like that. When it comes to this, all the analysts is saying Shedeur is a better prospect, even though he dropped to the 5th round. We all know why he dropped to the 5th round, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Come on, fellas, we all know. Everybody from all mainstream media, everybody, not just CU fans or the CU antis or guys like me, we all see a better prospect in Shedeur Sanders. So we all believe he's the better prospect. But hey, at the end of the day, he's still got to see who wins this quarterback battle, which I believe Shedeur will win it. I don't think he's going to start. Like I said, I don't think he's going to start at the beginning of the year. I think he's one of the veterans. And I honestly think that they're going to trade one of the veterans. Somehow, some way, they're not going to be there. I don't think they might just cut him because they're not getting paid a lot. So, and like they said, we know who Joe Flacco is. We know who Kenny Pickett is. He's on his third team in 4 years, and we don't know what we got with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, but Shedeur Sanders is a total better prospect than Dylan Gabriel. No one heard Dylan's name even in the same breath as Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders in this draft. So I just don't want to hear it. I'm tired of people saying it. Let's just stop this foolery already. You feel what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that, and I just think that overall Shedeur's going to win this battle and eventually become the starter, and that's something that's going to change Cleveland forever, I believe. But if not, only time will tell, fellas. So let me know, subscribe, all that good stuff. Post it in the comments and how you feel about this quarterback battle. Now I want to get into something that about Shedeur that people don't realize. He's his own brand and everything comes with him, and everybody says all his followers and all that. But when you look at it, before I get about here, when you look at it, it's a good thing to have your own brand. Why do you think people at CU now following and everybody's following Shedeur on his own brand? So he's a 5th round pick. We all know he's a 5th round pick, but now look what happens when he's a 5th round pick. But look what happens to Shedeur and his contract for the NFL. He has equity in his jersey sales. He made $250 million off his jersey sales. He gets a piece of that. That's $15 million. So right there, that's already making up for the bull contract he got being a 5th round pick. And his jersey sales are just going to go higher and higher. He's going to keep on getting more money and more money. Granted, he has all the endorsements, like all this stuff he probably had from Nike and KFC and all the other endorsements he got. He's making money. So he's not hurting as a 5th round pick like most 5th round picks are. So before I jump out of here, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube fam and all the fam, Shedeur's going to make this a battle. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win because it's the NFL and there's some politics involved. I couldn't tell you who's going to win. I just know I believe Shedeur should win, and I believe that he will win. Do I believe he's not going to start the year because that's just not how the NFL does things. There's still a good old boy network that is going to play the veterans first before they just throw a young person out there, which is funny because if they would have drafted him in the 1st round, they would have threw him out there. But that's beside the point. They're going to get rid of him. Honestly, they need either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur to hit because at the end of the day, Deshaun Watson's contract is still on the books. I just think it's going to be Shedeur, not Dylan Gabriel. And with that being said, that's how I feel overall about the quarterback situation. But only time will tell. Not just that. Training camp's going to happen. Preseason game's going to happen before we even get there. There's going to be a month and and some change until we figure out who's going to be the quarterback. I'm very intrigued of this battle, and we're all going to see it play out in real time. I'm gonna beware for you Shedeur fans, CU aunties, everybody that's rooting for Shedeur. There's going to come narratives in this situation when it comes to Shedeur. They're going to say the most crazy shit just because they don't like how Shedeur carries himself. So be ready for that throughout this next month of training camps. Don't sweat it. Just let it go off for all you Shedeur fans. So just take it what it is. And my overall thing is Shedeur will win this, but we're going to talk about it. You're going to get content about it all the time, every day. Like and subscribe to Side Talk Sports and not just the locker room, to Orange and Blue Country with my boy Larry Stroh. Catch me on social on X at Eli Griffin III. As well, you can catch Side Talk Sports on TikTok at Side Talk Sports. Like, comment, subscribe, run the algorithm up, all that good stuff for your boy. I appreciate y'all. To the next time, peace.